Close your eyes and imagine learning in a different way, not through effort or pressure, but through stillness, reflection, and peace. In a world that moves too fast, we fill our minds with endless information, yet forget to give that knowledge time to become wisdom. We learn so much, but rarely pause to truly understand. True intelligence isn't measured by how much we know, but by how deeply we see, how calmly we think, and how wisely we live. As the night unfolds, let yourself rest, not to escape, but to awaken. Because when your body is at ease, your mind opens to new understanding. And when your thoughts slow down, insight begins to rise from within. Tonight, we'll explore the wisdom of Taoism, Stoicism, and Minimalism, three ancient philosophies that teach us how to live simply, think clearly, and find peace in every moment. Each one offers a quiet truth, that life becomes lighter when we stop forcing it to be heavy. So take a slow breath in, and let the noise of the day dissolve into silence. With every breath, let go a little more. With every word, allow yourself to drift deeper into calm. This is more than just a moment of rest. It's an invitation to reconnect with your own wisdom. Because even in sleep, the mind continues to learn, and the soul continues to grow. Crescent Moon, if this message resonates with you, take a second to like this video. It helps more people find peace through knowledge. Subscribe for more nightly reflections that blend learning and relaxation, and share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear what stays with you tonight. Now breathe, and let the journey begin. A journey where knowledge meets peace, and sleep becomes the most peaceful classroom in the world. Imagine a life where the external world's chaos no longer dictates your inner peace, where the cacophony fades into the background as you move forward with purpose and clarity. You're untethered by the anxieties and pressures that plague so many. This isn't some distant, unattainable ideal, but a state of being within your grasp. It's a state cultivated through the philosophies of Taoism, Stoicism, and Minimalism, three ancient yet profoundly relevant schools of thought. When combined, they offer a powerful guide to becoming truly unstoppable. The art of letting go, as taught in Taoism, is the first step towards achieving this unshakable mindset. Taoism invites us to release our obsessive need for control, to surrender our struggles against the natural flow of life, and to find peace in simply being. It teaches us there's immense power in allowing things to unfold as they're meant to, rather than forcing outcomes according to our desires. When we let go of attachments to specific results, we open ourselves to the infinite possibilities life offers. In this state of surrender, we find not weakness, but an unbreakable strength rooted in flexibility and acceptance. Yet the journey doesn't stop at letting go. Stoicism, with its emphasis on rational thought and self-discipline, provides the mental framework to fortify our minds against life's inevitable challenges. The Stoics believe the quality of our lives depends not on events, but on how we perceive and respond to them. By asking ourselves profound questions, questions that challenge our assumptions and provoke deep reflection, we can cultivate a mindset that remains steady and resilient, no matter what storms may come. Stoicism teaches us to focus only on what's within our control and to remain indifferent to what isn't. This detachment from external outcomes not only reduces our suffering, but also empowers us to act with greater clarity and purpose. Simplicity and patience, the beauty of a simple life. Simplicity and patience are two virtues highly valued in Taoist philosophy. Taoism teaches that life should be simple and free from unnecessary complications. This simplicity isn't just about having fewer possessions, but also about having fewer desires and ambitions. When we simplify our lives, we free ourselves from the constant pursuit of more money, more status, more stuff. This allows us to focus on what truly matters and find contentment in the present moment. Patience goes hand in hand with simplicity. In a world that's always in a hurry, patience is a rare and valuable quality. Taoism teaches that good things take time and that we shouldn't rush through life trying to achieve our goals as quickly as possible. Instead, we should cultivate patience and trust that everything will happen at the right time. By being patient, we can enjoy the journey rather than being fixated on the destination. This helps us to live more fully and appreciate each moment as it comes. Living a simple and patient life can greatly reduce stress and anxiety. When we let go of the need to have everything right now, we we can relax and enjoy the process of life. We become more present, more mindful, and more connected to the world around us. This simplicity and patience allow us to find peace and contentment in the here and now, rather than constantly striving for something in the future. Non-attachment, freedom from possessions and rigid ideas. Non-attachment is another crucial aspect of Taoist philosophy. It involves letting go of our attachments to material possessions, rigid ideas, and even our own egos. In Taoism, attachment is seen as a source of suffering because it creates a sense of dependency and fear of loss. By learning to detach ourselves from these things, we can experience true freedom and peace. Material possessions often give us a false sense of security and identity. One simple technique for cultivating mindfulness is mindful breathing. This involves focusing your attention on your breath as it flows in and out of your body. Find a quiet place, sit comfortably, and close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths to relax, then breathe normally. Pay attention to the sensation of your breath as it enters and leaves your nostrils, the rise and fall of your chest, and the movement of your abdomen. Whenever your mind wanders, gently bring your focus back to your breath. This practice helps to anchor you in the present moment and can be done anywhere at any time. Meditation is another effective practice for letting go. Meditation involves sitting quietly and focusing your mind, often on your breath, a mantra, or a visualization. One popular meditation technique is the body scan, where you bring your attention to different parts of your body, noticing any sensations without trying to change them. This practice helps you to become more aware of where you might be holding tension or stress and allows you to release it. Regular meditation can help calm your mind, reduce stress, and increase your ability to let go of negative thoughts and emotions. Acceptance is a core principle of letting go. It means acknowledging and embracing reality as it is without trying to change or resist it. This doesn't mean passivity or giving up. Rather, it's about recognizing that some things are beyond our control and choosing to focus our energy on what we can influence. One way to practice acceptance is through self-compassion. Often, we're our own harshest critics, holding on to unrealistic expectations and self-judgment. By practicing self-compassion, we learn to be kinder to ourselves, accepting our flaws and mistakes as part of the human experience. When you make a mistake, instead of berating yourself, acknowledge that it's okay to be imperfect and treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer a friend. This philosophy of letting go of fear and attachment allowed him to take bold risks and drive innovation, leading to the creation of some of the most groundbreaking products in technology. These examples show that the principles of Taoism and the art of letting go are not just theoretical concepts, but practical tools that can lead to profound personal transformation. Whether through the adaptability of Bruce Lee, the simplicity of Lao Tzu, or the innovation of Steve Jobs, these individuals demonstrate that letting go can open the door to a more fulfilling and meaningful life. By embracing these principles, we can navigate the challenges of life with greater ease and grace, finding peace and contentment in the ever-changing flow of existence. As we come to the end of our exploration of Taoism and the power of letting go, let's take a moment to recap the key points we've discussed. We began by understanding the foundational concepts of Taoism, including the Tao, Wu Wei, and Yin Yang. These principles teach us about the natural flow of life and the importance of living in harmony with it. We learned that letting go is not about giving up, but about trusting the process of life and allowing things to unfold naturally. We delved into the concept of Wu Wei, or effortless action, which encourages us to act in harmony with the natural flow, rather than forcing outcomes. We also discussed the importance of simplicity and patience, emphasizing that a simpler life with fewer desires can lead to greater peace and contentment. Non-attachment was another crucial aspect we covered, highlighting the benefits of detaching from material possessions, rigid ideas, and the ego. The benefits of letting go were illustrated through its impact on mental peace, improved relationships, increased creativity, and a profound sense of personal freedom. By letting go of control, we reduce stress and anxiety, foster healthier relationships, open ourselves to new ideas, and live more authentically. Justice involves treating others with fairness and respect, ensuring that everyone is given their due. Practicing justice can be as simple as acknowledging others' contributions, being honest in your dealings, or standing up for those who are marginalized. In your daily life, you might practice justice by being fair in your judgments, ensuring you give credit where it's due, and treating everyone with respect regardless of their status or background. Temperance is the virtue of self-control and moderation. It's about managing your desires and impulses to maintain balance in your life. You can practice temperance by setting limits on indulgences, controlling your reactions to provocations, or maintaining a balanced approach to work and leisure. For instance, temperance could mean not overeating when you're stressed or refraining from making impulsive purchases. Wisdom is the ability to make sound judgments based on knowledge and understanding. It involves critical thinking, reflection, and learning from experiences. You can practice wisdom by seeking knowledge, reflecting on your experiences, and making informed decisions. In everyday situations, wisdom might involve taking the time to understand different perspectives before forming an opinion or learning from past mistakes to improve future actions. Take a moment to reflect on today. Which virtue can you focus on and practice right now? Identify specific actions you can take to embody this virtue. For example, if you choose courage, you might decide to speak up in a meeting where you have a valuable point to share. If you choose temperance, you might set a goal to maintain a balanced schedule that includes time for work, rest, and self-care. By consciously practicing virtues, you can enhance your character, build stronger relationships, and lead a more fulfilling life. The sixth question: what is the worst? The worst that can happen introduces the Stoic practice of negative visualization. And then there's minimalism, a philosophy that strips away the unnecessary, revealing the essence of what truly matters. In a world constantly pushing us to acquire more possessions, more achievements, more validation, minimalism encourages the opposite. It urges us to simplify our lives, to shed the excess, and to find contentment in less. By embracing minimalism, we reclaim our time, our space, and our mental energy from the clutter distracting us from our true desires and values. This deliberate focus on the essential frees us from the burden of materialism and consumerism, allowing us to live more intentionally and meaningfully. Together, these philosophies form a powerful triad that can transform your life. Taoism teaches you to let go, Stoicism teaches you to endure, and minimalism teaches you to simplify. Each philosophy complements the others, creating a holistic approach to living that's both liberating and empowering. This is your guide to an unshakable life, one deeply rooted in inner peace, purpose, and clarity. What if the secret to a happier, more peaceful life was simply letting go? Imagine living without the constant stress of trying to control every aspect of your existence. Picture the freedom of relinquishing old grudges, unrealistic expectations, and the never-ending pursuit of perfection. Today, we're delving into an ancient philosophy that teaches just that, the power of letting go. Let me begin with a story. There once lived a farmer in a small village. One day, his horse ran away. The neighbors came to offer their sympathy, saying, "Such bad luck." The farmer simply replied, "Maybe." The next day, the horse returned, bringing with it 3 wild horses. The neighbors exclaimed, "Such good luck." Again, the farmer replied, "Maybe." The following day, his son tried to ride one of the untamed horses, was thrown off, and broke his leg. The neighbors offered their condolences for the bad luck, but the farmer only said, "Maybe." We might believe that having the latest gadgets, the nicest clothes, or the biggest house will make us happy. However, these things can never provide lasting satisfaction because they're impermanent and constantly changing. Taoism teaches us to find joy and fulfillment within ourselves rather than relying on external objects. This doesn't mean we shouldn't enjoy nice things, but rather that we shouldn't become attached to them or let them define our happiness. Non-attachment also applies to our ideas and beliefs. We often hold on to certain ways of thinking or behaving because they make us feel safe and in control. However, rigidly clinging to these ideas can limit our growth and prevent us from seeing new possibilities. Taoism encourages us to be open-minded and flexible, to let go of our fixed beliefs and be willing to change. This openness allows us to learn and grow, to adapt to new situations, and to see the world in a new light. Finally, Non-attachment involves letting go of our egos, the sense of self that separates us from others and the world. The ego is often driven by fear and desire, constantly seeking validation and control. By letting go of our ego, we can connect more deeply with the Tao and experience a sense of oneness with all of life. This doesn't mean losing our individuality, but rather transcending the ego's limitations and embracing our true nature. Benefits of letting go: mental peace. One of the most significant benefits of letting go is the profound sense of mental peace it brings. In our fast-paced world, stress and anxiety are common experiences. We often feel pressured to meet deadlines, achieve goals, and live up to expectations. This constant striving can leave us feeling overwhelmed and exhausted. However, by adopting the Taoist practice of letting go, we can significantly reduce these feelings of stress and anxiety. Another aspect of acceptance is letting go of the need for approval from others. We often seek validation from others to feel good about ourselves, but this can lead to constant striving and dissatisfaction. By accepting ourselves as we are, we free ourselves from this need for external validation. This involves recognizing our intrinsic worth and believing that we're enough just as we are. Acceptance also means embracing change and uncertainty. Life is constantly changing, and trying to resist this natural flow can create stress and frustration. By accepting that change is inevitable and that we cannot predict or control everything, we can approach life with a more open and flexible mindset. This allows us to adapt to new circumstances and find peace in the midst of uncertainty. Decluttering is a practical and effective way to practice letting go. It involves removing unnecessary items from your physical space and simplifying your surroundings. This process can have profound physical and mental benefits, creating a sense of order and calm in your environment. Start by assessing your living space and identifying items that no longer serve a purpose or bring you joy. This could include clothes you no longer wear, books you've already read, or gadgets you no longer use. As you go through your belongings, ask yourself if each item adds value to your life. If not, consider donating, recycling, or discarding it. Decluttering can be done gradually, one area at a time, to avoid feeling overwhelmed. The physical act of decluttering can lead to a greater sense of control and clarity. A cluttered space can create a feeling of chaos and stress, while a tidy and organized environment promotes a sense of calm and focus. When your physical space is free of unnecessary items, it can be easier to relax and concentrate on what truly matters. Decluttering also has mental benefits. Just as physical clutter can create stress, mental clutter can weigh us down. We also shared practical steps to practice letting go, including mindfulness and meditation techniques, the practice of acceptance, the physical and mental benefits of decluttering, and strategies to relinquish control. These steps provide a roadmap for integrating the principles of Taoism into our daily lives. Throughout the video, we highlighted real-life examples and stories of individuals who have successfully applied Taoist principles, showing us that these ideas are not just theoretical, but can lead to profound personal transformation. These examples inspire us to embrace the power of letting go in our own lives. Embracing the power of letting go is a journey towards greater peace, freedom, and fulfillment. It's about trusting the natural flow of life and releasing the burdens that weigh us down. As Lao Tzu, the founder of Taoism, wisely said, "When I let go of what I am, I become what I might be." This quote beautifully captures the essence of letting go. It's about allowing ourselves to evolve and grow, unencumbered by the constraints of our fears and attachments. Remember, letting go does not mean giving up on your goals or dreams. Instead, it means pursuing them with a sense of openness and flexibility, trusting that the right opportunities and outcomes will come your way. It's about finding balance and harmony in every aspect of your life, from your relationships to your work and personal growth. As you move forward, I encourage you to practice the principles of Taoism we've discussed. Start with small steps, whether it's practicing mindfulness, decluttering your space, or letting go of a past hurt. Notice the changes these practices bring to your life, and let them inspire you to continue on this path. Letting go is a powerful act of self-liberation. It frees us from the need to control everything and allows us to live more fully and authentically. This involves imagining the worst-case scenario to reduce fear and anxiety. While it might seem counterintuitive, envisioning potential problems helps us prepare mentally and emotionally, making us more resilient. Negative visualization isn't about being pessimistic, it's about building mental strength. By contemplating the worst possible outcomes, we become less afraid of them and more capable of dealing with them if they occur. For example, if you're worried about a job interview, imagine the worst-case scenario. You might not get the job. Accepting this possibility helps you realize that even if it happens, you can handle it. You'll find other opportunities, and life will go on. Another example is dealing with a health issue. Imagine you're awaiting results from a medical test, and you're anxious about the outcome. Practicing negative visualization, you would consider the worst-case scenario. The results might show a serious condition. By imagining this, you can mentally prepare for the steps you would need to take. Seeking treatment, adjusting your lifestyle, or finding support. This preparation reduces the shock and fear if the worst does happen and helps you feel more in control. Negative visualization also helps in everyday situations. For instance, if you're planning an outdoor event, imagine it rains on that day. By considering this possibility, you can prepare alternative plans, such as arranging for marquees or finding an indoor venue. This reduces your anxiety about the weather and ensures that you're ready to handle the situation if it arises. Reflect on a situation that's causing you anxiety. What's the worst that can happen? Visualize this scenario in detail and consider how you would cope with it. Think about the resources you would need, the actions you would take, and the support you might seek. By facing your fears head-on, you can reduce their power over you and approach situations with greater confidence and calm. The day after, military officials came to the village to draft young men into the army. Seeing the son's broken leg, they passed him by. The neighbors congratulated the farmer on his good luck. He replied, "Maybe." This story captures the essence of letting go, of not clinging to events or outcomes, and of accepting the flow of life. We'll explore the wisdom of Taoism, an ancient Chinese philosophy that emphasizes harmony with the natural world and the art of letting go. By the end of this video, you'll have a deeper understanding of how to incorporate these principles into your daily life, leading to greater personal growth, inner peace, and freedom. What is Taoism? Taoism, also spelled Taoism, is a philosophical and spiritual tradition originating in China over 2,000 years ago. Its foundational text, the Tao Te Ching, is attributed to Lao Tzu, a semi-mythical figure believed to have lived during the 6th century BCE. Taoism teaches that the Tao, or the Way, is the fundamental principle that underlies and unifies the universe. The Tao is indescribable and beyond human comprehension, yet it's the source of all existence. Central to Taoist philosophy are three core principles: the Tao, Wu Wei, and Yin Yang. The Tao is the ultimate reality, the source, and the principle that governs the universe. It's a force flowing through all life, and living in harmony with the Tao means aligning oneself with this natural flow. Often translated as non-action or effortless action, Wu Wei is the practice of taking action that is in perfect harmony with the flow of life. It means not forcing things, but rather allowing them to unfold naturally. This principle represents the interdependence of opposites. Yin and Yang are complementary forces that create balance and harmony in the universe. Understanding and embracing this balance is key to living a harmonious life. The Tao Te Ching, a collection of 81 short chapters, is the most important text in Taoism. When we stop trying to control every aspect of our lives and accept things as they are, we create space for calmness and clarity. Letting go means trusting that things will work out as they're meant to, without our constant intervention. This trust in the natural flow of life can alleviate the pressure we place on ourselves, allowing us to relax and experience a greater sense of well-being. Instead of being caught in a cycle of worry and tension, we can embrace a state of ease and serenity. Furthermore, letting go helps us to break free from negative thought patterns that contribute to stress and anxiety. When we hold on to grudges, regrets, or fears, we're constantly reliving past hurts and anticipating future problems. This keeps us trapped in a state of mental turmoil. By letting go of these negative emotions, we can live more fully in the present moment. Mindfulness practices, closely aligned with Taoist principles, encourage us to observe our thoughts and feelings without judgment and to let them pass without attachment. This shift in perspective allows us to experience a sense of inner peace and reduces the mental clutter that contributes to stress and anxiety. Improved relationships. Another significant benefit of letting go is the positive impact it has on our relationships. Relationships can be a source of joy and fulfillment, but they can also be a source of tension and conflict. Often, the issues that arise in relationships stem from our expectations, judgments, and desires to control others. By learning to let go of these tendencies, we can foster healthier and more harmonious relationships. Letting go of expectations means accepting people as they are, without trying to change them. It means recognizing that everyone has their own path and their own way of being. When we let go of the need for others to meet our expectations, we create space for genuine connection and understanding. This includes holding on to old grudges, regrets, and negative thoughts. By letting go of these mental burdens, we can create more space for positive and productive thoughts. Practices like journaling can help with mental decluttering. Write down your thoughts and feelings, then let go of what no longer serves you. This can provide a sense of release and help you gain perspective. Letting go of control is one of the most challenging aspects of letting go, but it's also one of the most liberating. Our desire to control outcomes, situations, and even other people often stems from fear and insecurity. We believe that by controlling everything, we can avoid uncertainty and ensure our happiness. However, this need for control can create immense stress and frustration because life is inherently unpredictable and uncontrollable. Learning to let go of control allows us to live more freely and harmoniously. One strategy for letting go of control is to practice mindfulness and self-awareness. By becoming more aware of our thoughts and behaviors, we can identify when we're trying to control things unnecessarily. For instance, notice when you're micromanaging a project or constantly worrying about the future. Acknowledge these tendencies without judgment and remind yourself that it's okay not to have everything figured out. Focus on what you can control, your actions, attitudes, and responses, and let go of the rest. Another effective strategy is to trust. The process of living involves nurturing a sense of faith that things will unfold as they are meant to, even if the outcome differs from your initial plans. Reflect upon past experiences where things didn't go as expected, yet ultimately worked out for the best. Trusting the process means believing in a larger plan, that everything happens for a reason. This perspective helps you relinquish the need to control every detail, and instead, to go with the flow. Practicing gratitude is also a powerful way to let go of control. By embracing this philosophy, you can find a deeper sense of peace and fulfillment, no matter what challenges come your way. Have you ever wondered what truly makes life meaningful? What if I told you that ancient wisdom holds the key to transforming your life in ways you never imagined? In this video, we're going to explore 12 powerful questions rooted in Stoic philosophy that will challenge your perspective and help you live a more fulfilling life. Picture this. You wake up each day feeling calm, centered, and in control, regardless of what life throws at you. Imagine navigating challenges with grace, finding joy in simple moments, and staying true to your values no matter what. This isn't a fantasy. It's a reality that Stoic philosophers believed anyone could achieve by asking the right questions and reflecting deeply on their answers. So, why should you stick around? Because by the end of this video, you'll have a toolkit of transformative questions that can shift your mindset, reduce stress, and bring clarity to your life's purpose. Whether you're dealing with a difficult decision, facing a personal setback, or simply looking for more meaning in your daily routine, these questions will provide the insights you need to thrive. But first, let's talk about Stoicism. Originating in ancient Greece around 300 BCE, Stoicism was founded by Zeno of Citium and later developed by philosophers like Epictetus, Seneca, and Marcus Aurelius. This philosophy isn't about suppressing emotions or being indifferent to life events. Instead, it's about cultivating an inner strength and resilience that allows you to face life's ups and downs with equanimity and wisdom. At its core, Stoicism teaches 4 key principles: virtue, wisdom, self-control, and courage. Virtue is about living in accordance with your highest values and striving to be a good person. Wisdom involves understanding the world and making sound judgments. The seventh question, am I being driven by desire or aversion, asks us to examine the motivations behind our actions. In Stoic philosophy, desire refers to the pursuit of things we believe will bring us pleasure, while aversion refers to the avoidance of things we believe will bring us pain. These two primary drivers of human behavior can often lead us astray if not managed properly. Desires can range from basic needs like food and shelter to more complex ones like wealth, status, and approval. While some desires are natural and necessary, others can become excessive and lead to negative consequences. For instance, an excessive desire for wealth might drive someone to work long hours at the expense of their health and relationships. Stoicism teaches us to practice moderation and self-control, ensuring that our desires don't dominate our lives. Aversions, on the other hand, are things we try to avoid because they cause discomfort or fear. These can include anything from physical pain to social rejection. While it's natural to avoid pain, allowing aversions to control our actions can limit our growth and potential. For example, avoiding public speaking due to fear of embarrassment can hinder personal and professional development. Stoicism encourages us to confront our fears and accept discomfort as a part of life, which helps us build resilience. Stoic strategies for managing desires and aversions involve practicing self-awareness and rational thinking. First, identify your desires and aversions by reflecting on your thoughts and actions. Ask yourself why you want or avoid certain things. Are these desires and aversions based on rational needs and values, or are they driven by irrational fears and societal pressures? Next, apply Stoic principles to moderate these drivers. For desires, practice temperance by setting limits and focusing on what is essential. It offers profound wisdom on how to live a life of simplicity, humility, and compassion. The teachings of the Tao Te Ching guide us to live in harmony with the Tao and to embrace the natural flow of life. In Taoism, letting go isn't just a practice, but a way of life. It's about aligning oneself with the natural flow of the universe and finding peace and balance in every moment. This philosophy is rooted in several key concepts, including Wu Wei, simplicity and patience, and non-attachment. Each of these principles offers valuable insights into how we can live more harmoniously and peacefully by letting go of our need to control everything around us. Wu Wei, the art of effortless action. Wu Wei, often translated as non-action or effortless action, is a central concept in Taoism that teaches us to act in accordance with the natural flow of life. It doesn't mean doing nothing or being passive, but rather taking action that is in harmony with the Tao, the fundamental nature of the universe. Imagine a river flowing smoothly around rocks and obstacles. The water doesn't struggle or resist. It simply flows around whatever is in its path. This is the essence of Wu Wei, taking the path of least resistance and allowing things to unfold naturally. In our daily lives, Wu Wei can be applied by not forcing things to happen. For example, if you're working on a project and encounter a problem, instead of stressing and forcing a solution, you might take a step back, relax, and allow a natural solution to present itself. Often, when we stop trying so hard to control every detail, things work out more smoothly and effectively. Wu Wei teaches us to trust the process and have faith that things will happen as they're meant to, without excessive effort or force. We become more empathetic and compassionate, which strengthens our relationships. Moreover, letting go of judgments allows us to see others more clearly and appreciate them for who they are. Judgments often create barriers between us and others, leading to misunderstandings and conflicts. By practicing non-judgment, we can approach our relationships with an open heart and an open mind. This openness fosters trust and respect, essential for any healthy relationship. Non-attachment also plays a crucial role in improving relationships. When we're attached to specific outcomes or to the idea of how a relationship should be, we place unnecessary pressure on ourselves and others. Letting go of these attachments allows us to experience relationships more freely and joyfully. We can appreciate the moments we share with others without clinging to them or fearing their loss. This sense of freedom enhances the quality of our relationships and allows them to grow naturally and authentically. Increased creativity. Letting go and practicing non-attachment can also lead to increased creativity and innovation. Creativity thrives in an environment of openness and freedom. When we're attached to rigid ideas or specific outcomes, we limit our ability to think creatively and explore new possibilities. By letting go of these attachments, we open ourselves up to a world of creative potential. Non-attachment allows us to approach problems and challenges with a fresh perspective. Instead of being confined by preconceived notions or fixed ideas, we can think outside the box and come up with innovative solutions. This openness to new ideas and possibilities is a key driver of creativity. When we're not afraid to let go of old ways of thinking, we can experiment, take risks, and explore uncharted territories. Furthermore, letting go of the need for perfection can enhance our creative expression. When we focus on what we are grateful for, we shift our attention away from what we lack or want to control. Each day, take a moment to reflect on the things you are thankful for, whether big or small. This practice can help you appreciate the present moment and reduce the anxiety associated with trying to control the future. Engaging in activities that emphasize flow and spontaneity can also help you let go of control. Creative pursuits like painting, dancing, or playing music require you to be present in the moment and allow things to unfold naturally. Similarly, spending time in nature, where you can observe the effortless flow of life, can remind you of the beauty and harmony that exists without human intervention. These activities encourage a state of flow where you are fully immersed and engaged, letting go of the need to control the outcome. Finally, setting boundaries is crucial in the process of letting go of control. Recognize that you cannot control other people's actions or decisions, and trying to do so can strain your relationships. Instead, focus on setting healthy boundaries that protect your well-being. Communicate your needs and expectations clearly, but also be willing to respect others' autonomy and choices. By setting boundaries, you can reduce the impulse to control and create more balanced and respectful relationships. Letting go of control involves cultivating mindfulness, trusting the natural flow of life, practicing gratitude, engaging in flow activities, and setting healthy boundaries. These strategies can help you release the need to control every aspect of your life and embrace a more relaxed and trusting approach. By letting go of control, you can reduce stress, enhance your relationships, and experience a greater sense of freedom and peace. This practice is not about giving up responsibility, but rather about recognizing the limits of your control and choosing to focus your energy on what truly matters. Self-control is about managing your desires and emotions, and courage is the ability to face difficulties and challenges with bravery and perseverance. These principles form the foundation of Stoic thought and guide the questions we'll explore today. Now, let's dive into these 12 powerful questions that can change your life. The first question, what is truly within my control, is a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy. The Stoics believe that recognizing the boundaries of our control is essential for achieving inner peace and resilience. This concept is central to Epictetus's teachings, one of the most influential Stoic philosophers, who asserted that we should focus only on what we can control and accept what we cannot. So, what exactly is within our control? According to the Stoics, our thoughts, actions, and reactions are within our control. We can choose how we interpret events, how we respond to them, and the decisions we make. On the other hand, external events, other people's actions, and outcomes are beyond our control. For instance, you can control how much effort you put into preparing for an exam, but you cannot control the questions that will be asked or how the examiner will grade your paper. Let's consider a practical example. Imagine you're stuck in traffic, running late for an important meeting. The traffic jam itself is beyond your control. However, your reaction to the situation is within your control. You can choose to get frustrated, honk your horn, and stress out, or you can take a deep breath, accept the situation, and perhaps use the time to listen to an interesting podcast or plan your meeting in your head. By focusing on what you can control, your reaction, you reduce your anxiety and maintain your composure. Another example is dealing with criticism. If someone criticizes you unfairly, their opinion is beyond your control. However, How you respond to that criticism is within your control. Remind yourself that true happiness comes from within and isn't dependent on external possessions or achievements. For aversions, practice courage by facing your fears gradually. Understand that discomfort and challenges are opportunities for growth, and that avoiding them only limits your potential. Reflect on a recent decision. Was it driven by desire or aversion? How did this influence your actions and the outcome? By becoming aware of these drivers, you can make more conscious choices that align with your true values and lead to greater fulfillment. The eighth question, how can I use this challenge as an opportunity for growth? Encourages us to adopt a growth mindset, a concept deeply rooted in the Stoic philosophy of amor fati, which means love of fate. Amor fati is the idea that we should embrace all events in our lives, including difficulties and hardships, as necessary and beneficial parts of our journey. Stoics believe that every obstacle presents a chance to develop our character and abilities. When we face challenges, instead of seeing them as setbacks, we can view them as opportunities to practice resilience, patience, and creativity. This perspective transforms obstacles into stepping stones for personal growth and improvement. Consider a situation where you're facing a significant challenge, such as a failure or a personal loss. It's natural to feel disappointed or discouraged, but Stoicism teaches us to look beyond the immediate pain and identify ways in which this experience can help us grow. For instance, a job loss, while initially stressful, might push you to develop new skills, explore different career paths, or even start your own business. A personal loss might deepen your empathy and strengthen your relationships with others. To apply this concept, start by accepting the reality of the challenge. Instead of resisting or denying it, embrace it as part of your journey. Next, analyze the situation and identify what you can learn from it. The fear of making mistakes or not being good enough can stifle our creativity and prevent us from sharing our ideas with the world. By embracing the Taoist principle of letting go, we can release these fears and allow ourselves to create freely and authentically. Creativity isn't about achieving perfection, but about expressing our unique vision and perspective. When we let go of the pressure to be perfect, we can enjoy the creative process and produce work that is more genuine and impactful. Personal freedom. Finally, one of the most profound benefits of letting go is the sense of personal freedom it brings. Letting go liberates us from the constraints and burdens holding us back. It frees us from the need to control everything, from the fear of failure, and from the attachments limiting our potential. This sense of freedom allows us to live more authentically and fully. When we let go of our need to control every aspect of our lives, we open ourselves up to new experiences and opportunities. We become more adaptable and resilient, able to navigate life's ups and downs with grace and ease. This flexibility allows us to embrace change and uncertainty with a sense of curiosity and wonder rather than fear and resistance. Moreover, letting go of attachments liberates us from the constant pursuit of external validation and approval. Instead of seeking happiness and fulfillment outside ourselves, we learn to find it within. This internal sense of fulfillment is more sustainable and enduring than any external achievement or possession. It allows us to live in alignment with our true values and desires, rather than being driven by societal expectations or pressures. Personal freedom also means having the courage to follow our own path, even if it differs from the conventional or expected route. Letting go empowers us to trust our intuition and make choices that are true to ourselves. Letting go of control allows you to live more authentically, in alignment with the natural rhythms of life. To understand how the principles of Taoism and the art of letting go can be applied in real life, let's look at some personal stories. These anecdotes illustrate how individuals have used these principles to find greater peace, happiness, and success. One such story is about Sarah, a successful businesswoman who found herself constantly stressed and overwhelmed. Despite her accomplishments, she felt a persistent sense of dissatisfaction and anxiety. Sarah's turning point came when she was introduced to the concept of Wu Wei, or effortless action. She began to practice mindfulness and meditation, focusing on being present and letting go of her need to control every outcome. Sarah learned to trust that things would work out as they were meant to, without her constant intervention. By adopting this mindset, she found that she was able to make better decisions, reduce her stress, and enjoy her work more. Her relationships improved as she let go of unrealistic expectations and began to appreciate people for who they were. Sarah's story shows how the practice of letting go can transform one's professional and personal life. Another inspiring story is that of John, who struggled with anger and resentment for many years. He held on to grudges and past hurts, which affected his mental health and relationships. Through the practice of non-attachment, John learned to let go of his anger and embrace forgiveness. He started a daily meditation practice, focusing on letting go of negative emotions and cultivating compassion. Over time, John noticed a significant change in his outlook on life. He became more patient, understanding, and at peace with himself and others. His story demonstrates the profound impact that letting go of negative emotions can have on one's well-being and relationships. You can choose to react defensively and let it ruin your day, or you can consider whether there is any constructive feedback in their comments, thank them for their perspective, and move on with your life. By focusing on what you can control, you maintain your peace of mind and protect your emotional well-being. Reflect on this for a moment. What aspects of your life are you trying to control that are actually beyond your influence? How does this attempt to control the uncontrollable contribute to your stress and anxiety? By shifting your focus to what you can control, you empower yourself and foster a more serene and balanced state of mind. This perspective can help reduce anxiety because it allows you to let go of the futile effort of trying to manage things that are simply out of your hands. The second question, what am I attaching my happiness to, invites us to examine the sources of our happiness. Many of us tie our happiness to external circumstances, such as success, wealth, relationships, or social status. While these can contribute to a sense of joy, the Stoics warn against making them the sole basis of our happiness. External sources of happiness are fleeting and unpredictable. They are subject to change and can be taken away at any moment. For instance, a job promotion might bring you joy, but if your happiness is entirely dependent on that promotion, what happens if you lose your job? Stoicism encourages us to cultivate an internal source of happiness, one that is stable and enduring regardless of external circumstances. How do we find happiness within? The Stoics suggest focusing on living virtuously and aligning our actions with our core values. Happiness in this context comes from being a good person, acting with integrity, and developing qualities such as wisdom, courage, and self-control. What skills can you develop? What strengths can you build? How can this experience make you a better person? Finally, take proactive steps to turn the challenge into an opportunity. Set goals, seek support, and stay committed to your growth. Identify a current challenge you are facing and brainstorm how it could lead to personal growth. Consider the skills you can develop, the lessons you can learn, and the strengths you can build. By embracing challenges with a growth mindset, you transform obstacles into valuable opportunities for self-improvement. The ninth question, what can I be grateful for right now, emphasizes the importance of gratitude in Stoic philosophy. Gratitude shifts our focus from what we lack to what we have, enhancing our overall well-being and appreciation for life. The Stoics believe that practicing gratitude helps cultivate a positive and resilient mindset. Gratitude involves recognizing and appreciating the positive aspects of our lives, no matter how small. This could be the support of a friend, the beauty of nature, or a simple meal. By regularly reflecting on what we're grateful for, we cultivate a more positive and content mindset. This practice can improve our mental health, strengthen our relationships, and increase our overall happiness. To cultivate gratitude, start by making it a daily practice. Set aside a few minutes each day to reflect on what you're thankful for. You can do this in the morning to set a positive tone for the day, or in the evening to reflect on the good things that happened. Writing down your thoughts in a gratitude journal can also be helpful, as it allows you to revisit these positive reflections and reinforces the habit. Gratitude can also be practiced through mindful awareness. Throughout your day, take moments to pause and appreciate the little things around you. It might be the warmth of the sun, the taste of your favorite food, or the laughter of a loved one. This authenticity leads to a more fulfilling and meaningful life, as we're not confined by the limitations and expectations imposed by others. The benefits of letting go are vast and transformative. By embracing the principles of Taoism, we can experience greater mental peace, improve our relationships, enhance our creativity, and achieve a profound sense of personal freedom. Letting go isn't about giving up or being passive, but about trusting the natural flow of life and allowing things to unfold as they're meant to. It's about releasing the burdens weighing us down and opening ourselves up to the limitless possibilities life offers. As we learn to let go, we discover that true happiness and fulfillment come not from holding on, but from flowing with the ever-changing currents of life. Practice letting go. Mindfulness and meditation are powerful practices helping us cultivate the ability to let go. Mindfulness involves paying attention to the present moment without judgment. It means being fully aware of what's happening right now rather than being lost in thoughts about the past or future. By practicing mindfulness, we can develop a deeper awareness of our thoughts, emotions, and sensations, allowing us to recognize when we're holding on to things unnecessarily. The principles of Taoism and the art of letting go have also been embodied by many well-known individuals and historical figures. These people have shown that by embracing these principles, one can achieve remarkable success and fulfillment. One famous example is Bruce Lee, the legendary martial artist and actor. Bruce Lee was deeply influenced by Taoist philosophy, particularly the concept of Wu Wei. He believed in the importance of being like water, adaptable, flexible, and able to flow around obstacles. Be formless, shapeless, like water. Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend. This approach not only shaped his martial arts style, but also his outlook on life. Lee's ability to let go of rigid techniques and embrace fluidity allowed him to innovate and excel in his field. Bruce Lee's success and enduring legacy are testaments to the power of these Taoist principles. Another historical figure who exemplified the art of letting go is Lao Tzu, the founder of Taoism and the author of the Tao Te Ching. Although little is known about his life, his teachings have had a lasting impact on millions of people around the world. His emphasis on simplicity, humility, and harmony with the Tao provides a timeless guide for living a balanced and fulfilling life. Lao Tzu's own life was a reflection of his teachings. According to legend, he chose to leave his position as a court archivist and live a simple, solitary life, free from the trappings of power and ambition. His ability to let go of worldly desires and live in harmony with nature continues to inspire people to this day. Steve Jobs, the co-founder of Apple Inc., is another prominent figure who practiced the art of letting go. Jobs was known for his innovative thinking and ability to embrace change. For example, finding joy in the act of helping others, learning new things, or simply appreciating the beauty of nature can be sources of internal happiness that are less susceptible to external changes. Take a moment to reflect on your own life. Where does your happiness come from? Are you overly reliant on external factors? How can you cultivate a deeper, more internal sense of joy? By identifying and nurturing these internal sources of happiness, you build a more resilient foundation for a fulfilling life. For instance, think about the activities that make you feel truly content and fulfilled. Are they dependent on external approval or success, or do they stem from a sense of personal achievement and alignment with your values? Maybe you find happiness in creating art, not because it earns you accolades, but because it allows you to express yourself authentically. Or perhaps you find joy in spending time with loved ones, not because of any material gain, but because of the meaningful connections you share. Reflect on where your happiness comes from and how you can cultivate inner joy. By focusing on internal sources of happiness, you can create a more stable and enduring sense of fulfillment that is less vulnerable to external changes. The third question, how would a sage respond to this situation, encourages us to consider how a wise and virtuous person would handle challenges. In Stoic philosophy, a sage is someone who embodies the highest ideals of wisdom and virtue. While achieving the status of a sage is an aspirational goal, striving to emulate a sage's responses can guide us towards better decision-making and greater inner peace. A Stoic sage would respond to difficulties with calm rationality and virtue. For instance, if faced with a personal attack or criticism, a sage would not react with anger or defensiveness. Instead, they might seek to understand the critic's perspective, remain composed, and respond with measured and thoughtful words. These small moments of appreciation can have a significant impact on your overall sense of well-being. Another way to practice gratitude is by expressing it to others. Let the people in your life know that you appreciate them. A simple thank you note, a kind word, or a thoughtful gesture can strengthen your relationships and spread positivity. Reflect on what you can be grateful for right now. List 3 things you appreciate in your life. They could be big or small, tangible or intangible. By making gratitude a daily practice, you can increase your happiness and build a more resilient outlook on life. This simple yet powerful practice helps you focus on the positive aspects of your life, making you more appreciative and content. The 10th question, how would I act if I had no fear? Encourages us to examine the role fear plays in our lives and how it influences our actions. Fear is a powerful emotion that can often hold us back from reaching our full potential. It can prevent us from taking risks, trying new things, and pursuing our dreams. By understanding and addressing our fears, we can unlock new opportunities and live more authentically. Fear impacts our actions in many ways. It can cause us to avoid challenges, procrastinate on important tasks, or settle for less than we deserve. For example, the fear of failure might stop someone from starting a new business, even if they have a great idea and the skills to succeed. The fear of rejection might prevent someone from expressing their true feelings to a loved one, leading to missed opportunities for deeper connections. Stoic philosophy offers several techniques for overcoming fear. One such technique is the practice of negative visualization, which involves imagining the worst-case scenario and preparing for it mentally and emotionally. By facing the possibility of failure or rejection in our minds, we become less afraid of it and more confident in our ability to handle it if it happens. He understood that failure and setbacks were part of the journey, and that holding on to rigid plans or ideas could hinder progress. Remembering that you are going to die is the best way I know to avoid the trap of thinking you have something to lose. You are already naked. There is no reason not to follow your heart. This approach not only diffuses the situation, but also upholds the sage's integrity and self-respect. Consider a common challenge, dealing with failure. When we fail at something important to us, it's easy to feel disheartened and give up. However, a sage would view failure as an opportunity for growth and learning. They would analyze what went wrong, take responsibility for their actions, and use the experience to improve. This mindset turns setbacks into valuable lessons and keeps us moving forward with resilience and determination. Another example could be handling stress at work. Imagine you have a looming deadline and an overwhelming amount of tasks to complete. A sage-like response would involve staying organized, prioritizing tasks based on importance, and seeking help if needed. Instead of panicking or procrastinating, the sage would remain focused and composed, ensuring that their actions are efficient and effective. Think of a current problem you're facing. How would a sage handle it? Visualize their calm demeanor, thoughtful analysis, and virtuous actions. By adopting a sage-like approach, you can navigate challenges more effectively and cultivate a sense of inner peace and strength. This reflective exercise can help you find practical solutions to your problems while maintaining your integrity and composure. The 4th question, what is my role in this situation? Prompts us to recognize our responsibilities and contributions in any given scenario. Understanding our role helps us focus our efforts where they can be most effective and prevents us from getting overwhelmed by factors beyond our control. When we identify our role, we gain clarity on what actions we need to take and how we can positively influence the outcome. In any situation, we have a specific role to play. This role might be defined by our job, relationships, or personal goals. Another Stoic technique is focusing on what is within our control. Often, our fears are based on outcomes that are beyond our control. By concentrating on our actions and responses rather than the results, we can reduce anxiety and take proactive steps towards our goals. For instance, if you fear public speaking, you can focus on preparing thoroughly and delivering your message clearly, rather than worrying about the audience's reaction. Additionally, Stoicism teaches us to embrace discomfort and view it as a natural part of growth. By gradually exposing ourselves to situations that make us uncomfortable, we can build resilience and reduce the power of fear over our lives. This might involve taking small steps outside your comfort zone, such as speaking up in a meeting or trying a new hobby, and gradually increasing the level of challenge. Envision how you would live if fear didn't hold you back. What goals would you pursue? What risks would you take? How would your relationships and career change? By imagining a life without fear, you can gain clarity on what truly matters to you and take steps to overcome the barriers that are holding you back. Reflect on the actions you would take if you were not afraid and consider how you can start implementing them in your life today. The 11th question, what is my guiding principle? Encourages us to define a personal philosophy or mission statement that guides our actions and decisions. Having a clear guiding principle helps us stay aligned with our values and purpose, providing direction and consistency in our lives. A guiding principle can be a statement or a set of values that reflect what is most important to you. For example, your guiding principle might be to act with integrity, show compassion, or pursue continuous growth. By defining this principle, you create a compass that directs your choices and actions, ensuring that you stay true to yourself, even in challenging situations. For example, if you're a team leader at work, your role is to guide your team, make strategic decisions, and ensure that projects are completed successfully. If you're a parent, your role involves caring for and nurturing your children, teaching them values, and supporting their growth. Recognizing your role helps you stay grounded and focused. It clarifies what is expected of you and what you should prioritize. Let's consider a common scenario, a conflict with a colleague. In such a situation, your role might be to mediate and find a resolution that benefits both parties. By understanding this, you can approach the conflict with a clear mind and a focus on finding common ground rather than escalating the dispute. You can listen actively, empathize with the other person's perspective, and work collaboratively to resolve the issue. Recognizing your role also helps you manage personal relationships. For instance, in a family disagreement, your role might be to provide support and understanding rather than to win the argument. By focusing on your responsibility to maintain a harmonious and supportive environment, you can navigate the conflict with compassion and patience. Reflect on a recent conflict or challenging situation. What was your role in that scenario? How could focusing on your specific responsibilities have helped you manage the situation better? By clearly defining and embracing our roles, we can act more effectively and maintain our sense of purpose. This approach not only helps in resolving conflicts, but also in making everyday decisions, as it provides a clear framework for understanding what we need to do and why it matters. The 5th question, what virtues can I practice right now? Encourages us to actively embody Stoic virtues in our daily lives. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of living virtuously, and this question helps us identify opportunities to practice virtues such as courage, justice, temperance, and wisdom. To define your guiding principle, start by reflecting on your core values. What qualities do you admire in others? What principles do you want to embody in your own life? Consider writing down a few key values that resonate with you, such as honesty, kindness, or perseverance. Next, think about how these values can be translated into a guiding principle. For instance, if you value honesty, your guiding principle might be always speak the truth, even when it is difficult. Aligning your actions with your guiding principle involves regularly assessing your decisions and behaviors to ensure they reflect your values. This might mean making tough choices, such as standing up for what you believe in or admitting when you are wrong. It also involves being mindful of how your actions impact others and striving to act in a way that is consistent with your principles. Write down your guiding principle and consider how it influences your decisions. Reflect on recent actions and decisions. Did they align with your guiding principle? If not, what changes can you make to better align your actions with your values? By consciously living according to your guiding principle, you create a sense of purpose and integrity that enhances your overall well-being and satisfaction. The 12th question, am I living according to my values? invites us to regularly assess our actions to ensure they align with our core beliefs. Living according to our values leads to greater authenticity and fulfillment, as it allows us to act in a way that is true to ourselves and our principles. Our values are the principles that matter most to us, such as honesty, kindness, and responsibility. By evaluating our actions against these values, we can identify areas where we are falling short and make necessary adjustments. This practice helps us stay true to ourselves and live with integrity, even in the face of external pressures or challenges. These virtues are the foundation of a good character and guide our actions towards moral excellence. Courage, in Stoic terms, means the ability to face challenges and fears with bravery. It's about standing up for what is right, even when it's difficult or unpopular. You can practice courage by speaking out against injustice, trying new experiences that scare you, or standing firm in your values despite peer pressure. For example, if you see someone being treated unfairly, courage might mean intervening or supporting the person even if it feels uncomfortable. To assess whether you are living according to your values, start by listing your core values. What principles do you hold dear? What qualities do you strive to embody in your daily life? Once you have identified your values, reflect on your recent actions and decisions. Did they align with these values? For example, if you value honesty, consider whether you have been truthful in your interactions. If you value kindness, think about whether you have acted with compassion towards others. If you find that your actions are not fully aligned with your values, don't be discouraged. Recognizing this misalignment is the first step towards making positive changes. Reflect on why you might have acted out of alignment with your values and identify any external pressures or internal fears that influenced your behavior. Consider what steps you can take to realign your actions with your values. This might involve setting new goals, seeking support from others, or practicing self-compassion and forgiveness. Evaluate your recent actions and ensure they reflect your values. What changes can you make to better align your actions with your core beliefs? By regularly assessing and realigning your actions with your values, you can create a more authentic and fulfilling life. This practice not only enhances your sense of integrity, but also builds trust and respect in your relationships with others. As we wrap up, let's quickly recap the 12 powerful questions that can transform your life through the lens of Stoic philosophy. These questions are designed to help you navigate life with wisdom, courage, and clarity. What is truly within my control? Focus on what you can control, your thoughts, actions, and responses, and let go of what you cannot. What am I attaching my happiness to? Cultivate inner joy by focusing on internal sources of happiness rather than external circumstances. How would a sage respond to this situation? Imagine how a wise and virtuous person would handle challenges and strive to emulate their response. What is my role in this situation? Understand your responsibilities and focus on how you can positively contribute to any scenario. What virtues can I practice right now? Identify and practice key Stoic virtues such as courage, justice, temperance, and wisdom in your daily life. What is the worst that can happen? Use negative visualization to mentally prepare for challenges and reduce fear and anxiety. Am I being driven by desire or aversion? Examine the motivations behind your actions and strive for balance by managing desires and aversions. How can I use this challenge as an opportunity for growth? Embrace difficulties as chances to develop your character and abilities. What can I be grateful for right now? Practice gratitude daily to enhance your well-being and appreciation for life. How would I act if I had no fear? Envision a life without fear and take steps to overcome barriers that hold you back. What is my guiding principle? Define a personal philosophy that aligns with your values and guides your actions. Am I living according to my values? Regularly assess your actions to ensure they reflect your core beliefs and make adjustments as needed. These questions are more than just philosophical musings. They are practical tools for self-reflection and growth. By regularly contemplating these questions, you can cultivate a Stoic mindset that empowers you to face life's challenges with grace and wisdom. Reflect on these questions often, perhaps daily or weekly, and consider writing down your thoughts and insights in a journal. This practice will help you stay mindful of your actions and ensure that you are living in alignment with your values and principles. Remember, personal growth and self-improvement are ongoing journeys. It's important to be patient and compassionate with yourself as you navigate this path. The wisdom of Stoicism teaches us that we have the power to shape our own destinies through our thoughts and actions. By embracing these questions, you can develop a stronger, more resilient character and lead a more fulfilling and meaningful life. As you move forward, keep these questions close to your heart. Let them guide you through difficult times and help you celebrate the good moments. The journey towards wisdom and virtue is not always easy, but it is incredibly rewarding. You have the ability to create positive change in your life and the lives of those around you. I encourage you to take these Stoic principles to heart and make them a part of your daily routine. Reflect on these questions, embrace challenges as opportunities for growth, and strive to live a life of virtue and integrity. Remember, the power to change your life lies within you. You are capable of achieving great things, and with the wisdom of Stoicism, you can navigate any obstacle with grace and resilience. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. Leonardo da Vinci. In a world brimming with choices, clutter, and constant stimulation, this statement by Leonardo da Vinci resonates more powerfully today than it perhaps did in his time. It leads us to a profound yet often overlooked concept: minimalism. But what exactly is minimalism, and how does it relate to our pursuit of happiness? Minimalism, in its essence, is the intentional promotion of the things we most value and the removal of everything that distracts us from it. It's not merely a design aesthetic or a superficial decluttering exercise. It's a mindset, a way of life that encourages us to find beauty and satisfaction in simplicity. This philosophy, while seemingly modern, has roots that delve deep into various cultures and historical epochs. Its relevance has only magnified in our current age, where excess and the superficial often overshadow the meaningful and fulfilling. My journey into the realm of minimalism began not in a moment of epiphany, but through a series of realizations over time. I remember standing in my room one evening, surrounded by things I had collected over the years. Books I never read, gadgets I barely used, and clothes I hardly wore. It struck me then the disproportionate amount of time and energy I had invested in acquiring and maintaining these possessions, compared to the joy they brought me. This imbalance led me down a path of introspection, reading, and eventually adopting a minimalist lifestyle. The church had figures such as Martin Luther, who advocated for a return to the core teachings of Christianity, stripping away the elaborate rituals and opulence that had come to define the church. The Enlightenment era brought a renewed focus on rational thought and individualism. Philosophers such as Immanuel Kant and Jean-Jacques Rousseau emphasized the importance of living in accordance with one's own principles, often advocating for a simpler, more authentic way of life. Rousseau, in particular, criticized the artificiality of society and posited that man was happiest in a state closer to nature. The Industrial Revolution marked a significant departure from these ideals as mass production and consumerism began to take hold. Yet, even in this era, there were dissenting voices. The arts and crafts movement of the late 19th century, led by figures like William Morris, was a reaction against the excesses of industrialization, advocating for craftsmanship and simplicity in design. In the 20th century, minimalism began to take on its more modern form. The post-World War II era, especially in art and architecture, saw a movement towards minimalism as a response to the complexity and trauma of the wars. Artists and architects like Frank Lloyd Wright and Mies van der Rohe embraced simplicity, functionality, and the beauty of unadorned forms. This period also saw the emergence of the less is more philosophy, which has since become a mantra for the minimalist movement. Today, minimalism is often seen as a counter-movement to the rampant consumerism and digital overload of contemporary society. It's a re-emergence of ancient wisdom adapted to modern challenges, encouraging us to find fulfillment not in possessions or status, but in experiences, relationships, and personal growth. Mindfulness is a key component in the minimalist approach to possessions. It involves being more deliberate about what we choose to own, asking ourselves whether each item adds value to our lives. This approach encourages us to move away from impulsive buying and towards a more thoughtful and intentional way of consuming. The philosophy of minimalism suggests that there is a certain joy to be found in owning less. This is not just about the absence of clutter, but about the presence of space. Space that can be filled with experiences, relationships, and activities that bring genuine fulfillment. It's about creating room for what truly matters, allowing us to focus our time, energy, and resources on the aspects of life that contribute most significantly to our well-being. Minimalism also challenges the conventional definitions of success and happiness. It prompts a shift from measuring our worth by what we own to valuing ourselves for who we are and the quality of our lives. This redefinition is crucial in a world where material success is often glorified, as it allows for a more inclusive and varied understanding of what it means to live a fulfilled life. The essence of minimalism lies in its flexibility and personalization. It's a misconception that minimalism means living with the bare minimum or adhering to a strict set of rules. In reality, minimalism is about prioritizing what truly matters on an individual level. It's a personal journey that varies from one person to another, shaped by individual values, needs, and circumstances. For some, minimalism might mean living in a tiny home with just the essentials, while for others, it could be about having a more spacious home, but with only items that add value and joy. The common thread is the focus on simplicity and intentionality, creating space for the things that are most important in life. The first step in adopting a minimalist lifestyle is self-reflection. Ultimately, we will weave together the various strands of our discussion, reflecting on hedonism's role in the quest for a meaningful life. Is this the key to true happiness, or a path laden with illusions and challenges? Can the principles of this philosophy be woven into a life that is balanced, ethical, and truly fulfilling? Through this exploration, our goal is to not just comprehend hedonism as a philosophical concept, but to ponder its significance and practicality in our lives. Whether you are a philosophy enthusiast, someone exploring different paths to happiness, or merely interested in understanding the human inclination towards pleasure, this journey promises enlightenment, provocation, and potentially transformation. Embarking on our journey through the nuanced landscape of pleasure-focused philosophy, we delve into the core principles that define this intriguing way of life. The central tenet, the cornerstone of this philosophy, is the elevation of pleasure to the status of the highest good. This principle stands as the bedrock upon which the philosophy's entire structure is built. But what is this pleasure that is so fervently sought? Is it a singular, monolithic experience, or does it encompass a spectrum of sensations and states of being? The very concept of pleasure, in its broadest sense, is multifaceted and subjective. To some, it may manifest as sensory delight, the pleasure derived from a sumptuous meal, the touch of silk, or the melody of a beautifully composed piece of music. For others, pleasure takes a more cerebral form. The joy of intellectual discovery, the satisfaction of creative expression, or the tranquility found in meditative practices. The diversity in the interpretation of pleasure is as vast as the range of human experience itself. It's a reminder that what constitutes pleasure varies immensely from person to person, culture to culture, and even within an individual's own life journey. It wasn't just about getting rid of stuff. It was about recalibrating my life's priorities. In this video, we will delve into the multifaceted world of minimalism. We'll start by exploring its historical roots, understanding how various cultures and philosophers over centuries have embraced simplicity and how it contributed to their sense of contentment. Eastern philosophies like Buddhism and Taoism, Western thinkers such as Epicurus and Henry David Thoreau, and even contemporary voices in the minimalist movement have all echoed similar sentiments. The less you have, the more you can focus on what truly matters. But how does this ancient wisdom hold up in the face of modern challenges? Our digital age, characterized by a constant barrage of information and material temptations, poses unique obstacles to a minimalist lifestyle. Hence, a significant part of our discussion will be dedicated to adapting minimalism in the digital era. We'll explore strategies for digital decluttering, managing technology's pervasive presence in our lives, and finding a balance that fosters well-being. Moreover, we'll discuss how minimalism can be practically integrated into various aspects of life, from our professional careers and personal relationships to the very way we perceive and engage with the world around us. It's about cultivating a mindset that values quality over quantity, experiences over possessions, and intentional living over mindless consumption. But it's not all smooth sailing. Adopting a minimalist approach comes with its set of challenges and misconceptions. One of the common myths is that minimalism is about depriving yourself, living with the bare minimum, or adhering to a strict set of rules. In this video, we'll bust these myths and discuss how to navigate the challenges that come with choosing a path less traveled, a path of minimalism. As we trace the lineage of minimalist thought from the ancient world to the present, it's clear that this philosophy is not a trend, but a timeless approach to living that has been revisited and reinvented across cultures and centuries. Its enduring appeal lies in its simplicity and universality, a call to focus on what's truly essential. As we delve deeper into the realm of minimalism, it's essential to explore the perspectives of various philosophers who have shaped the minimalist ideology. Their teachings, originating from different corners of the world, converge on the principle of simplicity and the pursuit of a meaningful life. Buddhism, one of the world's oldest philosophies, offers profound insights into minimalism. At its core, Buddhism teaches the middle way, avoiding both extreme indulgence and severe asceticism. Central to Buddhist thought is the concept of dukkha, often translated as suffering or dissatisfaction, which arises from attachment to desires and material possessions. The Buddha emphasized the impermanent nature of all things, advocating for detachment and mindfulness as paths to inner peace and enlightenment. This detachment isn't about deprivation, but about understanding the transient nature of worldly possessions and finding contentment in simplicity and the present moment. Taoism, another pillar of Eastern philosophy, also echoes minimalist principles. Its foundational text, the Tao Te Ching, written by Lao Tzu, emphasizes living in harmony with the Tao, the way, a principle that signifies the essential, unchanging nature of the universe. Taoism advocates simplicity, spontaneity, and frugality, encouraging adherents to align their lives with the natural order of things. The concept of wu wei, non-action or effortless action in Taoism, is particularly relevant to minimalism. It suggests that the best way to live is by doing what comes naturally and not forcing or striving, thereby living a life of simplicity and authenticity. It involves asking oneself key questions like, what are my values? What brings me joy and fulfillment? What are my life goals? Understanding these aspects will guide the process of deciding what to keep and what to let go of. This self-reflection sets the foundation for a more mindful and intentional approach to minimalism. Decluttering, the most tangible aspect of minimalism, is the process of removing unnecessary items from our living spaces. A practical way to start decluttering is by tackling one room or area at a time. This avoids the overwhelm that can come with trying to declutter your entire space at once. Items can be categorized into things to keep, donate, sell, or throw away. Quality over quantity. Minimalism also advocates for choosing quality over quantity. It encourages investing in fewer but better quality items that will last longer, rather than accumulating many low-quality items that quickly become clutter. This not only reduces waste, but also ensures a more sustainable and economical lifestyle in the long run. Digital minimalism. In our digital age, minimalism extends beyond physical possessions to include our digital lives. Digital minimalism involves decluttering and organizing digital spaces like email inboxes, digital files, and social media accounts. It's about being selective with the digital content we consume and engage with, ensuring that our digital interactions are purposeful and add value to our lives. Time and commitment management. Minimalism is not just about physical and digital spaces. It's also about how we manage our time and commitments. It involves saying no to unnecessary commitments and focusing on activities that align with our values and bring us joy. This might mean setting boundaries, such as limiting work hours or being selective about social engagements. Financial minimalism involves simplifying one's financial life. This brings us to the intriguing dichotomy between short-term and long-term happiness. The philosophy is often criticized. The constant push towards a lifestyle centered on fleeting pleasures forces us to think again about how deep and how long true happiness lasts. Can a string of short-lived delights really lead to a state of lasting happiness? Or do we need a deeper, more resilient kind of joy that can sustain us through all the ups and downs of life? Short-term pleasures, while immediately satisfying, often risk leaving us feeling empty or unfulfilled in the long run. Chasing after these passing joys can sometimes feel like pursuing mirages, endlessly tempting, but ultimately impossible to grasp. On the other hand, focusing only on long-term happiness might lead to a life of constant striving, where the joy of the present is always sacrificed for a future that may or may not bring the satisfaction we expect. Finding the right balance between these two kinds of happiness is a tricky business. It demands a good understanding of what we really want and value, as well as a mindful approach to the choices we make in life. Living according to this philosophy isn't just about collecting as many pleasurable experiences as possible. It's about learning to recognize what brings genuine, lasting contentment. What's more, we need to understand our pursuit of pleasure within the context of our whole lives. It's not about relentlessly indulging ourselves or giving into excess, but about finding joy in all the different parts of our lives, from the ordinary to the extraordinary. It's about realizing that pleasure can be found in the simple, everyday things, the warmth of the sun on your skin, a good chat with a friend, the satisfaction of a job well done. This way of thinking also asks us to consider the ethical side of seeking pleasure. Is it okay to pursue personal pleasure if it means we're not being morally responsible? As we conclude, I'll share some final thoughts on how this journey of minimalism has influenced my life. The joy and clarity it has brought me, the sense of freedom from the unnecessary, and the peace that comes with knowing that what I own and do aligns with my deepest values. Let's embark on this exploration together. Let's discover how less can indeed be more, how simplicity can lead to sophistication, and how, in the pursuit of owning less, we might just find ourselves living more. The concept of minimalism, though seemingly a modern phenomenon, is deeply rooted in the history and philosophies of various cultures across the world. Its origins are as diverse as they are ancient, reflecting a universal human inclination toward simplicity and essence. In ancient civilizations, we find the earliest expressions of minimalist thought. The ancient Greeks, for instance, had a word for it, eukosmia, which means simplicity or good mixture. This concept was central to their philosophy, art, and architecture, emphasizing balance and harmony over excess and embellishment. Philosophers like Socrates advocated for a life focused on the development of the soul rather than the accumulation of material wealth. His lifestyle and teachings laid the foundation for later philosophers like Diogenes and Epicurus, who further expounded on the virtues of living simply and contentedly with little. Simultaneously, in the Eastern world, similar ideas were emerging. Buddhism, with its emphasis on detachment from material desires, aligns closely with minimalist principles. The Buddha taught that attachment is the root of all suffering, advocating for a life of moderation and mindfulness. Similarly, Taoism, with its principle of wu-wei, or non-action, encourages a harmonious way of living that is in alignment with the natural world, free from unnecessary excess. In the monastic traditions of Christianity, Islam, and Hinduism, we also see a strong emphasis on simplicity. Moving to Western philosophy, we encounter Diogenes of Sinope, a Greek philosopher and one of the most famous figures of the Cynic school. Diogenes took minimalism to an extreme, advocating for a life of extreme simplicity and rejecting all forms of luxury. He believed that virtue was better revealed in action than in theory, and he lived this belief by eschewing societal norms and living a life free from possessions. His philosophy was not just about physical minimalism, but also about challenging the unnecessary complexities of social conventions. Epicurus, another Greek philosopher, offered a different angle on minimalism. His philosophy, Epicureanism, is often misunderstood as advocating for indulgence in life's pleasures, but in reality, Epicurus promoted the idea of finding the greatest pleasure in the simplest of things. He argued that the key to happiness was to seek modest pleasures, to attain tranquility and freedom from fear, and to live in self-sufficiency. For Epicurus, minimalism was about focusing on what truly brings joy and avoiding the unnecessary desires that lead to disappointment and disturbance. In the 19th century, Henry David Thoreau, an American philosopher and naturalist, explored the concept of living simply in his seminal work, Walden. Thoreau's experiment in living in a small cabin near Walden Pond was a practical application of transcendentalist philosophy, which emphasized the importance of nature and the inherent goodness of people. He advocated for a life that was deliberate and essential, free from the clutter of unnecessary material possessions. Thoreau's reflections on simplicity and nature continue to be a significant reference point in discussions about minimalism today. In contemporary philosophy, minimalism is both advocated and critiqued. There are critiques of minimalism as a lifestyle choice, particularly in its modern, commercialized form. This can mean budgeting and cutting unnecessary expenses, focusing on paying off debts, and investing in experiences rather than things. It's about making financial decisions that support a minimalist lifestyle and help achieve long-term financial goals. Experiences over possessions. A key aspect of minimalism is valuing experiences over possessions. This means prioritizing activities that create memories and foster personal growth, such as travel, learning new skills, or spending quality time with loved ones. This shift from material possessions to life experiences often leads to greater long-term happiness and fulfillment. Relationships and minimalism. Minimalism also applies to relationships. It encourages nurturing deep, meaningful connections rather than maintaining numerous superficial relationships. This might involve investing more time and energy in a few close relationships, leading to richer and more fulfilling interactions. Continuous process. Adopting a minimalist lifestyle is a continuous process, not a one-time event. It involves regular reflection and adjustment to ensure that your lifestyle remains aligned with your values and goals. This ongoing process helps maintain a balance between simplicity and the complexities of modern life. Overcoming challenges. Embracing minimalism can come with its challenges, such as societal pressure to conform to consumerist norms or the emotional difficulty of letting go of possessions. Overcoming these challenges requires patience, persistence, and a strong conviction in the benefits of a minimalist lifestyle. The reward for adopting minimalism is a more fulfilling life, one that is less cluttered, less stressful, and more aligned with one's values and aspirations. It's about creating space, both physical and mental, for what truly enriches our lives, leading to a deeper sense of contentment and well-being. Can our quest for happiness coexist with the well-being of others and society as a whole? These are questions that make us think hard about the implications of our choices and how they affect the world around us. When we explore these questions, we come across the idea of enlightened hedonism. This is a version of the philosophy that argues for a more complete approach to pleasure. It suggests that true happiness isn't found in isolated moments of enjoyment, but in a life lived with purpose, meaning, and connection to others. It stresses the importance of balancing personal joy with social responsibility, and of finding pleasure in ways that make our own lives richer, as well as the lives of those around us. Furthermore, the relationship between physical and mental pleasures adds another layer of complexity to how we understand happiness. Physical pleasures, while often more immediate and instinctive, can be fleeting and may lead to us getting less and less satisfaction from them over time. Mental pleasures, on the other hand, such as the joy of learning, the satisfaction of personal growth, and the peace of a well-cultivated mind, often give us a deeper, more lasting sense of fulfillment. This distinction is vital for understanding what pleasure really is. It forces us to look beyond the superficial thrills and to explore the more profound aspects of happiness. It encourages us to develop a rich inner life, where the pleasures of the mind and spirit are just as important as the pleasures of the body. In this light, the philosophy becomes a journey of discovery, a quest not just for pleasure in its most immediate form, but for a deeper understanding of what it means to live a truly fulfilled and happy life. It's about finding joy in the journey itself, in the process of exploring, experiencing, and growing. As we make our way through this exploration, we're constantly reminded that pleasure and happiness are dynamic. Monks and nuns in these religions often take vows of poverty and lead lives of minimal material possessions, focusing instead on spiritual growth and community service. This emphasis on spiritual rather than material wealth persisted through the Middle Ages, where, despite the opulence of the nobility, the majority lived simply, often out of necessity rather than choice. During the Renaissance, a shift occurred as humanism and the pursuit of knowledge and artistic expression took center stage. However, this period also saw figures like Leonardo da Vinci, who, despite his myriad inventions and artworks, preached the virtue of simplicity. The Reformation further challenged the excesses of the Church, advocating for a return to simpler, more authentic religious practices. Critics argue that minimalism, as practiced by some, can become another form of consumerism, a way to buy into a particular lifestyle that is marketed as simple, but is in reality another form of consumption. This critique invites a deeper reflection on the essence of minimalism and challenges us to distinguish between its authentic practice and its superficial adoption. The discussion of minimalism in contemporary thought often revolves around the role of simplicity in our increasingly complex lives. Modern minimalists argue that in a world where we are constantly bombarded with choices and information, there's a profound peace and clarity that comes from simplifying, be it decluttering our physical spaces, streamlining our daily routines, or focusing on our most meaningful relationships and activities. Furthermore, minimalism in contemporary philosophy is often linked with the concept of mindfulness. It's seen as a way to live more consciously and deliberately, making choices that are more aligned with our values and less influenced by societal pressures or consumerist culture. This perspective sees minimalism not just as a way to reduce physical clutter, but as a tool to cultivate mental and emotional clarity. In the digital age, minimalism takes on new challenges and forms. Philosophers and thinkers are now exploring what minimalism means in the context of digital consumption. This includes ideas around digital detox, managing information overload, and the mindful use of technology. The emphasis here is on quality over quantity, not just in terms of physical possessions, but also in our digital interactions and media consumption. On the critique side, some philosophers argue that minimalism, especially in its more extreme forms, can be a privilege that not everyone can afford. The ability to choose simplicity, they argue, assumes a certain level of security and resources. In this comprehensive exploration of minimalism, we've journeyed through the rich tapestry of its history, philosophy, and practical application, uncovering the profound impact this lifestyle can have on our lives. We delved into the historical roots of minimalism, tracing it back to ancient civilizations and religious teachings, and discovered how its principles have been echoed by various cultures and thinkers across time. This historical perspective provided a solid foundation, revealing minimalism as a timeless philosophy rather than a contemporary trend. We then examined the minimalist perspectives of influential philosophers, from the Eastern teachings of Buddhism and Taoism to the Western philosophies of Diogenes, Epicurus, and Thoreau. Their insights highlighted the enduring relevance of simplicity in life. In contemporary thought, we discussed modern interpretations and critiques of minimalism, expanding our understanding of its application in today's world, especially in the digital realm. The psychological relationship we have with our possessions was another critical area we explored. We uncovered why we form emotional attachments to items and the impact of clutter and excessive possessions on our well-being. This understanding paved the way to discuss minimalism in practice, emphasizing that it's a personalized approach defined by individual priorities and values. We shared practical tips on decluttering, adopting sustainable and ethical choices, managing time and commitments, and focusing on experiences over possessions. Throughout this journey, my personal reflections have only deepened my conviction in the power of minimalism to enhance our lives. By stripping away the non-essential, we make room for what truly brings us joy and fulfillment. Minimalism, in its essence, isn't about having less for the sake of less. It's about making space for more time, more peace, more clarity, and ultimately more happiness. How we understand what brings us joy changes as we go through different stages of life. The pleasures that delighted us when we were young might not hold the same appeal later on. Our capacity for joy matures and deepens, and with it, our understanding of what it means to live a life in pursuit of happiness. So the philosophy, far from being a simple instruction manual for seeking pleasure, reveals itself to be a complex and nuanced approach to life. It challenges us to think deeply about what happiness really is, to question our assumptions, and to constantly seek a deeper, more meaningful understanding of what it means to live well. Exploring pleasure as the highest good opens up a vast and varied landscape of thought and experience. It invites us to question, to reflect, and to seek a deeper understanding of what happiness is all about. It encourages us to find a balance between the joys of the moment and the contentment of a life well lived. On this journey, we're called not just to seek pleasure, but to understand it, to appreciate it, and to find in it the keys to a truly fulfilling life. Delving deeper into the world of pleasure-seeking philosophy, we come across a crucial idea for understanding human happiness: the hedonic treadmill. This metaphorical treadmill represents a psychological phenomenon where a person's level of happiness tends to stay constant over time, regardless of any big changes in their fortune or achievements. The term, coined in the 1970s by psychologists Brickman and Campbell, has since become a cornerstone in the study of happiness and well-being. This idea challenges the notion that getting richer or climbing the social ladder leads to lasting increases in happiness. People quickly adapt to changes, both good and bad, and return to their baseline level of happiness. This critique challenges minimalists to consider the broader social and economic context in which they practice minimalism, and to ensure that it is inclusive and accessible. As we look to the future, the conversation around minimalism is evolving to include not just individual practices, but also societal and systemic changes. Philosophers and thought leaders are beginning to explore how minimalism can inform policy, business, and community life, suggesting that the principles of minimalism could be a key to addressing some of the pressing challenges of our time, from mental health issues to environmental crises. The human tendency to form attachments to material possessions is a phenomenon deeply rooted in our psychology. This attachment often transcends the utilitarian value of the item itself and taps into our emotions, memories, and sense of identity. From the teddy bear we clung to as children to the first car we bought with our hard-earned money, possessions can become extensions of ourselves, representing our history, achievements, or even aspirations. Psychologists have explored this phenomenon extensively. One theory is that these attachments are a form of self-expression. The things we own can symbolize who we are or who we aspire to be, acting as tangible representations of our identity. Another perspective sees these attachments as a result of the endowment effect, a cognitive bias that leads people to value an object more highly once it becomes their own. Furthermore, material possessions can also serve as a form of comfort and security. In times of uncertainty or stress, familiar objects can offer a sense of stability and continuity. They can anchor us to certain memories or periods in our life, providing a psychological safety net of sorts. The sentimental value of possessions is another significant factor in our attachment to them. As we conclude, I encourage you to reflect on your own relationship with possessions. Assess how the principles of minimalism might bring a greater sense of purpose and fulfillment to your life. Consider experimenting with minimalist practices, be it through decluttering your space, focusing on meaningful relationships, or simply being more mindful of your consumption habits. Remember, the journey to minimalism isn't about deprivation. It's about enriching your life by paring it down to its most beautiful essentials. Let this be the start of a transformative journey where each step towards simplicity is a step towards a more fulfilling life. Embrace the essence of minimalism and discover the profound joy and serenity it can bring to your world. As we move forward, let's remember the words of Leonardo da Vinci: "Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication." In simplicity, we find sophistication, clarity, and a path to true happiness. Let this journey be one of discovery, growth, and lasting fulfillment. Pleasure is the beginning and the end of living happily. Epicurus. The pursuit of pleasure. Is this the secret recipe for a fulfilling life? This question, simple yet profound, has intrigued thinkers and seekers of wisdom for centuries. We venture into an age-old philosophical arena: hedonism. Hedonism proposes a fundamental idea. Seeking pleasure and evading pain are the most essential and desirable objectives of human existence. Yet, beneath this seemingly clear-cut concept lies a rich tapestry of thought, layered with complexity and historical depth. The lineage of this idea can be traced back to the philosophical gardens of ancient Greece, where luminaries like Epicurus postulated that the pursuit of pleasure, in its many facets, is the highest good and ultimate aim of life. This philosophy has resonated through the corridors of time, influencing both the realms of thought and our everyday living. This adaptation process shows how resilient and adaptable humans are, but it also suggests that constantly chasing after greater pleasures or achievements may not actually make us much happier in the long run. The implications of the hedonic treadmill for the pursuit of pleasure are profound. If our happiness levels tend to return to a baseline, does that mean it's pointless to strive for more pleasure or better circumstances? This question strikes at the heart of the pleasure-focused philosophy and invites us to rethink what true happiness and fulfillment really are. Numerous scientific studies have looked into this idea, giving us insights into how and why our happiness levels tend to stay stable over time. Research has shown that people overestimate how much major life events will affect their happiness in the long term. For example, lottery winners and accident victims both return to their previous levels of happiness after a while. This isn't just limited to extreme cases. Everyday experiences also show that humans tend to return to a stable level of happiness, despite any ups and downs in their lives. The concept also ties in with how our desires and expectations evolve. As people's living conditions improve or they achieve their goals, their expectations and desires often increase at the same time. This upward adjustment of expectations can lead to a never-ending cycle of desire and dissatisfaction, with each new achievement or acquisition quickly becoming the new normal, making it necessary to pursue yet another goal just to maintain the same level of happiness. To understand the implications of the hedonic treadmill, we must consider whether it could lead to a state of existential stagnation. If constantly chasing greater happiness through material gain or external achievements is inherently limited, then perhaps the key to lasting happiness lies elsewhere. Items that remind us of significant people, events, or periods in our lives often hold an emotional value that far exceeds their physical worth. This can make the process of decluttering particularly challenging, as it's not just about discarding objects, but also about navigating the memories and emotions associated with them. Consumer culture also plays a crucial role in shaping our relationship with possessions. From a young age, we are bombarded with messages that equate material success with happiness and fulfillment. This constant exposure can lead to the internalization of the belief that acquiring more and better possessions is a pathway to a happier life. It fosters a cycle of desire and acquisition, where satisfaction is perpetually deferred to the next purchase. Turning to the impact of clutter and excess possessions on mental health and happiness, research has shown that there is a tangible connection between the two. A study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that high levels of possessions in one's living space are linked to higher levels of cortisol, a stress hormone. This suggests that living in cluttered environments can lead to increased stress and anxiety. Another body of research, focusing on the concept of materialistic strivings, indicates that people who place a high value on material possessions and the acquisition of wealth tend to have lower levels of life satisfaction and higher levels of distress. This is in line with the theory of hedonic adaptation, the idea that the pleasure derived from new possessions tends to be short-lived, leading to a continuous cycle of desire and dissatisfaction. Minimalism emerges as a response to these psychological dynamics. By consciously choosing to own fewer possessions, minimalists aim to break free from the cycle of desire and dissatisfaction that characterizes consumer culture. But what does it genuinely entail to lead a life in pursuit of pleasure? Is such an existence as gratifying and straightforward as it appears? Our expedition into the essence of hedonism will guide us across diverse terrains of intellectual debate and introspection. We will dissect the various interpretations of pleasure. Is it the ephemeral delight of an instant gratification, or something more profound and enduring? We will scrutinize the ethical dimensions of this pleasure-centric life. Does prioritizing one's own joy lead to a selfish existence, or can it coexist with a moral and socially responsible life? An essential facet of our journey is the psychological underpinnings of this idea, particularly the concept of the hedonic treadmill. This psychological theory suggests our pursuit of pleasure might be comparable to running endlessly on a treadmill, always chasing happiness, but never quite achieving a lasting state of contentment. We adapt to both positive and negative life changes, and our happiness levels tend to revert to a baseline. What implications does this have for the hedonistic quest for pleasure? Does it deem the pursuit of pleasure as futile, or does it invite us to reconceptualize the nature of happiness and its pursuit? In exploring these questions, we will also confront the critiques and challenges it faces. Ethical and moral concerns naturally arise when life's objective is defined as the pursuit of personal pleasure. How does this philosophy reconcile with these concerns, and what insights does it offer about striking a balance between personal joy and ethical conduct? Our exploration is not merely academic. Hedonism has tangible implications in today's world, where the quest for pleasure manifests in everything from consumer culture to the intricacies of social media. We'll investigate how modern society mirrors hedonistic values and what this means for our understanding of joy and fulfillment. This realization can be both liberating and challenging, as it forces people to seek happiness in more sustainable and intrinsic ways, such as through personal growth, relationships, and living a meaningful life. A critical analysis of this concept reveals its limitations and the need for different perspectives. Some critics argue that the treadmill model oversimplifies the complexities of human emotions and experiences. Happiness isn't a one-dimensional state, but a multifaceted experience influenced by a whole host of factors, including personality, life circumstances, and cultural context. Furthermore, the concept doesn't allow for the possibility that some people might experience genuine, lasting changes in their level of happiness due to personal growth or significant life transformations. Another important thing to consider is how individuals differ in their experiences. Not everyone adapts to life changes in the same way or at the same speed. Factors such as resilience, optimism, and social support can influence how quickly and effectively a person returns to their baseline level of happiness. This variability suggests that, while the hedonic treadmill might be a useful general concept, it doesn't capture the full range of human experiences and responses to life changes. Moreover, this concept invites us to explore alternative approaches to achieving happiness. If constantly chasing external achievements and pleasures leads to a cycle of temporary happiness and then adaptation, perhaps we should focus on cultivating internal sources of happiness instead. This could involve developing a sense of gratitude, fostering strong relationships, engaging in meaningful work, and pursuing personal growth and self-awareness. In essence, the hedonic treadmill concept challenges us to rethink our approach to happiness and the pursuit of pleasure. The philosophy advocates that by reducing our reliance on external sources of happiness, we can cultivate a more sustainable form of fulfillment that comes from within. The act of decluttering itself has psychological benefits. It's often associated with feelings of accomplishment and control. Clearing our physical space can lead to a clearer mind, reducing feelings of overwhelm and increasing our ability to focus. Studies in environmental psychology suggest that environments with minimal distractions are more conducive to productivity and creativity. However, the process of decluttering and detaching from possessions is not without its challenges. For many, it involves confronting deeply ingrained habits and beliefs. It requires us to examine not just our physical belongings, but also our emotional and psychological attachment to them. This process can be both liberating and daunting, as it often involves a reevaluation of our values and priorities. It suggests that a deeper, more sustainable form of happiness might be found not in constantly seeking more, but in appreciating and finding contentment in what we already have. This perspective doesn't diminish the value of striving for improvement or experiencing joy, but rather emphasizes the importance of balance, mindfulness, and a deeper understanding of what truly contributes to our well-being. This theory offers valuable insights into the nature of happiness and the limitations of pursuing pleasure as the sole means to achieving a fulfilling life. It encourages a more nuanced approach to happiness, one that recognizes the complexity of human emotions and the importance of finding a balance between external achievements and internal well-being. This understanding is crucial for guiding our pursuit of a good life. one that isn't just about experiencing pleasure, but also about cultivating a deep sense of meaning, purpose, and satisfaction. One of the most significant criticisms comes from the moral and ethical dimensions of a pleasure-focused life. Critics argue that such a philosophy inherently promotes selfishness and indulgence, potentially leading to a disregard for the well-being of others. The ethical dilemma posed by prioritizing personal pleasure above all else raises profound questions about the nature of morality and the responsibilities we have towards our fellow human beings. The moral critique of a pleasure-centric approach is rooted in the concern that it may lead to hedonistic egoism, where the pursuit of individual pleasure could justify harmful or unethical behavior towards others. This criticism highlights the potential conflict between personal happiness and social harmony. How does one reconcile the pursuit of personal pleasure with the moral obligation to act ethically and consider the impact of one's actions on others? The ethical challenge here is to find a balance between self-interest and altruism, between the pursuit of personal happiness and the commitment to the well-being of the community. Another significant challenge to a life devoted to pleasure is its sustainability. Critics question whether a continuous pursuit of pleasure can lead to a truly fulfilling and meaningful life in the long term. They argue that an overemphasis on pleasure could result in a shallow, unfulfilling existence devoid of deeper purpose and significance. This critique leads us to ponder the longevity and depth of satisfaction derived from a pleasure-centric approach. Is the constant pursuit of new and greater pleasures sustainable, both personally and globally? Does it lead to a never-ending cycle of desire and dissatisfaction, where each new pleasure quickly loses its allure, leading to a perpetual quest for more? These questions challenge us to reflect on the long-term implications of our pursuit of happiness and the kind of life that is truly worth living. Counterarguments from other philosophical perspectives offer a rich tapestry of alternative views on the pursuit of pleasure and happiness. For instance, Stoicism, an ancient philosophy, advocates for a life of virtue and reason, arguing that true happiness comes from living in harmony with nature and cultivating inner virtues like wisdom, courage, and self-control. Stoics believe that external circumstances, including pleasure and pain, are indifferent to true happiness, which is found in the cultivation of a virtuous character. Another contrasting viewpoint comes from existentialism, which emphasizes individual freedom, choice, and personal responsibility. Existentialists argue that meaning and fulfillment in life are not predetermined or found in external pleasures, but are created through authentic choices and engagement with one's existence. They challenge the idea that happiness is the ultimate goal, proposing instead that living authentically and embracing the inherent absurdities and challenges of life is what gives life its value. Buddhist philosophy also offers a distinct perspective, focusing on the alleviation of suffering through the cessation of desire. Buddhism teaches that attachment to pleasure and aversion to pain are the root causes of suffering. The path to true happiness, according to Buddhism, lies in overcoming these attachments and cultivating qualities like compassion, mindfulness, and inner peace. These diverse philosophical perspectives provide valuable insights into the complexities of human happiness and the pursuit of a good life. They challenge us to think critically about the nature of pleasure and happiness, and to consider alternative paths to fulfillment and well-being. They invite us to explore deeper dimensions of existence beyond the immediate gratification of pleasure, and to seek a life that is rich in meaning, purpose, and ethical integrity. The critiques and challenges of a pleasure-focused philosophy bring to light the ethical, moral, and practical concerns associated with such an approach. They compel us to consider the broader implications of our pursuit of happiness and to seek a balance between personal pleasure and the greater good. These critiques also open the door to alternative philosophical perspectives, offering a wider lens through which to view the complexities of life and the pursuit of happiness. In exploring these challenges and counterarguments, we gain a more nuanced understanding of what it means to live a good and meaningful life. In the contemporary landscape, the echoes of pleasure-seeking philosophies are evident in various facets of modern life. These manifestations offer a window into how the pursuit of pleasure shapes our society and individual lives. To fully grasp the modern context of this philosophy, we must look at both its prevalence in today's culture and the ways in which it can be balanced with a sense of responsibility and ethical living. One of the most conspicuous examples of pleasure-seeking in modern society is found in consumer culture. The relentless pursuit of new and better products, from the latest technological gadgets to fashion and luxury items, reflects a collective yearning for the pleasure derived from material possessions. This phenomenon is not just about the utility of these items, but the joy and status they confer. The advertising industry plays a crucial role in this, often tapping into our deepest desires for happiness, success, and social acceptance, thereby fueling the continuous cycle of desire and consumption. Social media platforms also serve as a modern canvas for the display and pursuit of pleasurable experiences. The curated lifestyles showcased on these platforms often emphasize aesthetic pleasure, leisure, and socialization, creating an image of an ideal life centered around continuous enjoyment and fulfillment. This portrayal can significantly influence individual aspirations and lifestyle choices, driving a relentless quest for experiences that mirror those idealized images. In addition to consumer culture and social media, the rise of experience-focused industries, such as travel, entertainment, and gastronomy, reflects a societal shift towards valuing experiences over material possessions. The growing emphasis on living life to the fullest, often characterized by unique and luxurious experiences, illustrates the modern inclination towards finding pleasure in varied and often extravagant ways. It becomes imperative to consider how one can incorporate the pursuit of pleasure in a manner that is responsible and sustainable. Balancing the pursuit of pleasure with responsibility involves a conscious effort to recognize the impact of our choices on ourselves, others, and the environment. One approach to achieving this balance is through the concept of mindful consumption. Mindful consumption encourages a shift from quantity to quality, appreciating and deriving pleasure from fewer but more meaningful possessions. Another aspect of responsible pleasure-seeking involves cultivating an awareness of the social and psychological effects of our lifestyle choices. This includes being mindful of the influence of social media on our perceptions and aspirations, and striving for authentic experiences that are fulfilling on a deeper level, rather than merely replicating idealized lifestyles. Moreover, incorporating responsibility into the pursuit of pleasure also means recognizing the importance of giving back to the community and engaging in activities that contribute to the well-being of others. Acts of kindness, volunteerism, and philanthropy can provide profound pleasure and satisfaction, offering a more holistic approach to happiness that encompasses both personal joy and the joy of contributing to the greater good. The modern context of pleasure-seeking also invites a reevaluation of our relationship with work and productivity. In a culture that often equates success with constant business and achievement, finding pleasure in leisure, relaxation, and self-care becomes an act of balance. It challenges the notion that constant productivity is the sole path to fulfillment, proposing instead that taking time for enjoyment and rest is essential for a well-rounded and satisfying life. As we come to the conclusion of our exploration into the philosophy of hedonism, it is essential to pause and reflect on the journey we've undertaken. We embarked on this exploration to understand the nuances of a life driven by the pursuit of pleasure, and what we found is a complex tapestry of ideas, challenges, and perspectives that transcend mere indulgence. Our journey began by defining the core principle of this philosophy, the elevation of pleasure as the highest good. We discovered that pleasure is a multifaceted concept, varying greatly from individual to individual, and encompassing both physical sensations and deeper intellectual joys. The discussion of short-term versus long-term happiness revealed the delicate balance between immediate joy and enduring contentment, challenging us to reconsider the depth and sustainability of true happiness. We then delved into the psychological underpinnings of this philosophy through the lens of the hedonic treadmill. This concept illustrated the human tendency to return to a baseline level of happiness despite significant life changes. It challenged the notion that constant pursuit of greater pleasures leads to lasting happiness, urging us to rethink our approach to happiness and the true sources of fulfillment. The moral and ethical implications of a pleasure-centric life were also scrutinized. We grappled with the potential conflict between the pursuit of personal pleasure and the ethical responsibility towards others. The sustainability of such a lifestyle, especially in the context of environmental and social well-being, was questioned, leading us to ponder the long-term consequences of our pursuit of happiness. In the modern context, we observed how the philosophy manifests in consumer culture, social media, and the experience economy. We recognize the need for balance and responsibility in our pursuit of pleasure, acknowledging the importance of mindful consumption, authentic experiences, and a harmonious relationship between work, leisure, and personal fulfillment. Reflecting personally on this philosophical journey, it becomes apparent that the pursuit of pleasure, while a natural and significant aspect of human life, requires careful consideration and balance. It is not the singular path to a fulfilling life, but a component of a broader, more complex equation that includes ethical living, personal growth, and social responsibility. True happiness, it seems, lies not in the relentless chase of pleasure, but in finding a harmonious balance between our desires, our values, and our connections with the world around us. I invite you, the viewer, to reflect on your own relationship with pleasure and happiness. Consider how the pursuit of pleasure shapes your life choices and well-being. Are there aspects of your life where balance could be improved? How do your actions align with your deeper values and the impact you wish to have on the world? Let us take these insights and use them as a guide to navigate the complexities of life. Let us seek pleasure not as an end in itself, but as a part of a richer tapestry of experiences that make up a meaningful life. Let's strive for a happiness that is sustainable, ethically grounded, and deeply fulfilling. Remember, the pursuit of a good life is not just about seeking joy in every moment, but in crafting a life that is, in its entirety, a joy to live. May this exploration inspire you to find your unique path to happiness, one that harmonizes pleasure with purpose, fulfillment with responsibility, and individual joy with the greater good.